So, what exactly does it take for a place to earn the ultimate title of Devbhoomi, or the Land of Gods? Well, nestled way up high in the majestic Himalayas, the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand carries this pretty profound nickname. And honestly, it makes total sense. It's this incredibly unique place where geography, deep-rooted culture, and sacred hydrology all intertwine to create something just truly magical.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to embark on a really structured, comprehensive journey right through the majestic heritage of Uttarakhand. Whether you're gearing up for an exam or you're just fascinated by India's incredibly diverse states, we are going to unpack the whole shebang, its unique geography, its deep history, and its rich cultural tapestry.
Here's a quick roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Welcome to Devbhoomi. 2. Mountains, passes, and districts. 3. The sacred river system. 4. Wildlife and national parks. And finally, 5. Unique tribes and culture. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1. Welcome to Devbhoomi, the genesis of Uttarakhand.
Let's look at a quick timeline of how this state actually came to be. It was carved right out of Uttar Pradesh on November 9, 2000, which made it the 27th state of India. Now, originally, it was named Uttaranchal, but in 2007, it officially reclaimed its historical, ancient name, Uttarakhand. And here's a really cool quirk about how it's run. To manage its incredibly diverse, rugged geography, the state actually uses a dual capital system. So they operate out of Dehradun in the winter and then shift all the way over to Garrisine in the summer.
And speaking of that rugged geography, get this. A staggering 86% of Uttarakhand is mountainous terrain. 86%! That single fact literally shapes its entire identity, from the local economy to the everyday culture. The remaining 14% makes up the plains. But to add even more to its ecological richness, a massive 71% of the total area is covered by deep, lush forests. It's just a green, mountainous paradise.
Moving right along to Section 2. Mountains, passes, and districts. Navigating the peaks. So, administratively, Uttarakhand is split into two major divisions. You've got Kumaon in the east and Garhwal in the west. Together, they make up 13 total districts. The Garhwal region is geographically larger and includes districts like Uttarkashi, Chamoli, and the winter capital, Dehradun. Over in the east, the Kumaon region is home to places like Nainital and Pithoragarh. And actually, Pithoragarh is super strategic because it's the only district that shares international borders with both Nepal and China.
Now, looking at all those mountains, you might be wondering, how do people actually get around up there? Well, they use passes, which are locally known as a dara or ala. Basically, a pass is just the lowest natural gap in a towering mountain ridge. For absolute centuries, these gaps have served as incredibly vital natural routes for trade, for pilgrimage, and really just for connecting isolated valleys that would otherwise be totally cut off.
These mountain passes are absolute historical arteries. Take Lipperlik, for instance, located down in Pithoragarh. It's incredibly significant because it's the route for the sacred Kailash Mansarovar pilgrimage into Tibet, acting as a major tri-junction. Then there's Mana Pass up in Chamoli. Now, fascinatingly, Mana used to be known as the last village of India, but actually, scratch that. It was recently redesignated officially as the first village of India, which is a pretty awesome shift in perspective. We also have passes like Lamkaga, which connects Uttarakhand right over to its neighbor Himachal Pradesh.
All right, let's head down from the high peaks into the deep valleys for Section 3, the sacred river system, the birth of the Ganges.
When you think of India, you almost instantly think of the river Ganga, right? But how does it actually form? It doesn't just bubble out of the ground fully formed. It's born from this dramatic, step-by-step merging of rivers high up in the Himalayas. This whole intricate system is known as the Panch Prayag, or the five confluences.
It's honestly like a giant, flowing puzzle. The Alaknanda River acts as the main spine here. It all kicks off way up high when the Dhuliganga meets the Alaknanda at Vishnu Prayag. As the water flows further down, the Nandakini joins in at Nand Prayag. Then, the Pindar River merges at Karna Prayag. After that, the Mandakini joins at Rudra Prayag. And finally, the true magic happens at Div Prayag, where the Alaknanda meets the Bhagirathi River. It is literally only after this final, magnificent collision at Div Prayag that the combined waters officially take on the famous name Ganga.
Now, if you are ever planning a pilgrimage, or even if you're just a history buff, it is so fascinating to note exactly which sacred river flows past which iconic temple.
Badrinath sits peacefully right on the banks of the Alaknanda River. Meanwhile, Kedarnath is situated much higher up on the banks of the Mandakini River. Understanding this hydrology really just gives a whole new context to how these ancient sacred sites were built.
Next up, Section 4, Wildlife and National Parks, protecting the Devbhoomi.
Because of all those forests we mentioned earlier, the state is an absolute ecological gold mine. It's home to 6 incredible national parks. You've got the Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers National Parks in the Chamoli district, and both of those are recognized globally for their stunning, high-altitude alpine biodiversity. Then there's the sprawling Rajaji National Park near Dehradun and the Gangatree and Govind Parks up in Uttarkashi. But the absolute crown jewel of the state sits in Nainital.
And that brings us to the year 1973. This was a hugely historic year for conservation. Why? Because that is when Project Tiger, which is India's massive conservation initiative, was launched right here at Jim Corbett National Park. Originally set up as Haley National Park, Jim Corbett actually holds the prestigious title of being India's very first national park ever. And today, it remains an absolutely vital sanctuary for the Bengal tiger and huge herds of wild elephants.
Finally, let's talk about the heart of the state in Section 5, unique tribes and culture, the people of the peaks. Over 94% of Uttarakhand's tribal population lives in rural areas, and these 5 distinct tribes really form the cultural bedrock of the state. The Tharu are the largest tribe, mostly found down in the lower Terai regions. Then you have the second largest, the Jaunsari, who are super fascinating because their cultural lineage actually follows the Pandavas from the ancient epic the Mahabharata. Way up near the China border, you'll find the Bodhya tribe. The Raji tribe are known as Vanvasis or animal lovers, and rounding it out are the Buksa, an agriculture-dependent community also living in the Terai Plains. Throughout the year, this place just comes alive with major cultural festivals that celebrate both the agricultural and spiritual cycles of Devbhoomi. Harela marks the crucial arrival of the monsoon rains and the planting of seeds. Then there's Raman, a highly unique festival in the Gardwal region dedicated to Lord Ram. It's actually recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage, which is a big deal. We also have the massive Kumbh Mela held in Haridwar, and Phul Day, which is just a really beautiful harvest festival celebrating the blooming of fresh spring flowers. But it's not all just harvest festivals. Traditional dances physically embody the intense history and spirit of the region. A perfect example of this is the Trolia dance. Now, this isn't just your average folk dance. It is a literal ancient martial arts sword dance native to the Kumaon region. It was historically performed to ward off evil spirits, and watching it today perfectly showcases the deep historical warrior traditions of these mountain communities. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you to ponder this one question. From those strategic, high-altitude passes connecting nations, to the awe-inspiring step-by-step birth of the Ganga, right down to the ancient sword dances of the Kumoni people, which aspect of this divine land do you want to explore next? Uttarakhand truly is a masterclass in how wild geography completely shapes a culture. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.